Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. So I just got done watching Xbox's 2019 E3 press conference, and I thought that they had an incredibly strong showing this year. Really great conference, a ton of games, a lot of new information, new world first premieres, some release dates and stuff on games that we already knew about. And yeah, I was really excited after watching the conference, and so I sort of wrote down a list of the things they talked about, and I thought I would just kind of give my impressions and my highlights and talk about what came out of the conference that I'm most excited about. Really, this conference for Xbox was all about the games this year. You could tell that they've really taken a lesson from previous years where they either focused too much on certain genres of games or didn't talk as much about games and spent more time either on the theatrics of the show or talking about features that people aren't incredibly interested in if they're really just looking to understand what games are coming out. And so they took all that feedback and they said, you know what, we are going to make sure that we don't come in last place next console generation. We want to establish ourselves as the ones that really talk about games first. And I mean, I'll be the first to admit that this generation, I have hardly played my Xbox at all. I mean, it's only recently that I just started playing my Xbox for the first time in probably a year because I wanted to play a couple of exclusive games on there. But yeah, I have not been playing my Xbox much. So to see them come up with a conference this strong and to talk about so many games is encouraging about the direction they're heading and what their showing might be for holiday 2020 when their console comes out. So that's a good segue, actually, to talk about the console news. Most of their presentation was focused on games, but they did talk about their next generation console, Project Scarlet, at the very end of their show. So what are my thoughts on Project Scarlet? Honestly, there's not a lot to really know at this point. I mean, Project Scarlet is a fine name. It seems like they're taking the same tact as Sony, where they're focusing on reducing loading times and talking about connectivity and different devices and things like that. So it feels like PlayStation 5 and Project Scarlet now are set up to be pretty comparable in terms of the features and their focus and things like that. So I mean, if loading times is a big thing to eliminate in the next console generation, I'm ecstatic about that. I would be more than happy to see fewer loading times in my games. But obviously, we're at the point where everything is still kind of speculation. Everything is sort of up in the air in terms of how it will actually perform once next generation games come out. So we'll see how things go. That brings us to the games. So a ton of games. I can't possibly cover everything, but I will touch on the highlights and the things that I most cared about or most jumped out to me. Got my list here because, like I said, there's so many games it would be impossible to remember everything. First, they talked a little bit about Outer Worlds. I don't really know too much about this game. To me, it just sort of looked like a Fallout type game. Maybe like a little bit of Fallout mixed with like a teeny bit of Borderlands. So I haven't really played through much of the other Fallout games, and so I don't know if this one is really going to reach out and have me jump in. But I mean, it didn't look bad by any means. It just didn't look like maybe my type of game, or not even my type of game, but it didn't maybe look like there was enough to really pull me in and say, hey, you have to play this day one. Respawn showed some footage for their Star Wars game coming out, which I think looks awesome. They showed some kind of Uncharted style platforming along the outside of some AT-ATs and stuff like that, and then they showed a little bit of the combat and introduced you to a couple of the characters. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this game. I haven't played a Star Wars game really in depth, I don't think, since Knights of the Old Republic 2. I didn't play the Unleashed games, so there might be one in between that I'm forgetting about. But yeah, I am definitely ready for a new Star Wars game. So obviously, Star Wars is back in pop culture, so yeah, I'm excited for that game. I think it's going to be good, and I trust Respawn as a developer. Absolutely, they've done nothing but awesome stuff. There was a release date for Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I just last week actually finished Ori and the Blind Forest. It's been on my backlog forever, and I finally got around to it. I fell in love with Ori and the Blind Forest. It instantly shot its way to the top of my list of Castleroids, and it instantly became one of my all-time favorite games. So to see a release date and to see that they're going to kind of continue the story of Ori and the Blind Forest got me really excited. I am a little disappointed that it's February 2020 because they had previously announced 2019. But I mean, I'm always fine if games get delayed. If it means they need a little bit of extra time to make it that much better, why not give it to them? There's plenty of other games to play in the meantime. They showed some more footage for Cyberpunk, a little bit of a narrative trailer, and then the big reveal was that Keanu Reeves is going to be in it. That's cool. That game still seems like it's a lot to take in. I'm interested. I'm going to play Cyberpunk when it comes out. But yeah, I mean, the big reveal here was really that Keanu Reeves is going to be in the game. So awesome. Keanu's back. That's awesome. Showed a couple other games. They talked about some RPGs and some indie games. One of them looked like you were kind of building a town and, I don't know, spiriting animals away and stuff like that, which seemed like it could be kind of interesting. They showed some footage for the new Battletoads game. I hate to say it, but it does not grab me initially. I'm not like a massive Battletoads fan. I've played the NES game and I enjoy it, but it's not a franchise that I like follow really closely. But yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's the art style or something about this one. It just didn't quite. It didn't feel quite right to me. So we'll see whether or not that game turns out to be awesome or not. But it's not like one that I'm desperate to play. There were some leaks that finally came out, so they announced their ultimate tier of Xbox Game Pass, which I think they said is $14.99, and you get Xbox Game Pass for consoles, the new Xbox Game Pass for PC, and Xbox Live Gold. That's a steal at $15 if it is $15 a month. Yeah, I guess that would make sense, right? Because they said Xbox for consoles, that's like a $10 subscription. Xbox Live Gold is roughly $5 a month, right? It's like $60 a year. And then they said that the PC one was free. So I guess it was that. Seems like a pretty good deal if they continue to release games on PC Game Pass. I just subscribed to Game Pass not long ago, and yeah, I like the service. I think it's really good. So I'm happy to see them building that out a little bit. They showed some classic games here. So first they showed a new Microsoft Flight Simulator. Not a game I'll play, but I will say that it looked beautiful. Then after that, they showed some footage for Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. That's super exciting to me. I loved Age of Empires. I played that game a ton as a kid. And I will 100% go back and play Age of Empires Definitive Edition. They even announced that it has a new campaign in it, The Last Khan, which is interesting because Age of Empires 2 had a Genghis Khan campaign. I don't remember if that was a part of the Conqueror's expansion or not. And now that I think about it, I don't know if the Conqueror's expansion is a part of the Definitive Edition. But even if it is more of Khan in their new campaign, that should be fine. I'm just excited to be able to go back and play that game again. And I'm not going to pretend like I remember the campaigns all well enough to like really know what is new and what's not. So they showed some footage for Psychonauts 2 on the heels of the announcement that Double Fine is now an Xbox Studio. I didn't see that one coming. That seems like a big deal. And obviously Psychonauts 2 is looking awesome. So great pickup from Xbox and Double Fine. They have a good eye for studios. Ninja Theory, Double Fine. They're doing a good job of finding studios with kind of unique, interesting games that you'll want to play when they come out because there aren't a lot of other things on the market like them. So awesome pickup by Xbox there. And Psychonauts 2 obviously looks good. I'm sold on Psychonauts 2 at this point anyways, so they don't need to show me any more footage. I just want the game to come out. They showed some footage for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is the action RPG being developed, I think, by Bandai Namco for like Xbox now. And what they did was just show a bunch of popular story scenes. It seems like it follows the story of the anime pretty closely, at least up through the Frieza saga. And so, yeah, that game, I mean, just like Dragon Ball FighterZ, Dragon Ball games look amazing these days. And so if that game plays well, which can't really tell yet, but hopefully it does, that'll definitely be worth checking out. They showed a new indie game. I forget the studio, but it's being published by Annapurna Interactive. And I love Annapurna as a publisher. That's called 12 Minutes, and it seems to be sort of a man trapped in a time loop of presumably 12 minutes that is trying to prevent some tragedy from happening. It has this really interesting sort of top-down view of like an apartment building or a bedroom, and feels sort of like constricted in the screen. Like the room that they show top down doesn't take up the whole screen. So that, I think, like added to the tension of the trailer, which was really cool. And yeah, I'm very interested to keep my eye on that game. I think that is one that will probably turn out to be pretty good. Then they showed this game I've never heard of called Way in the Woods. Best I can think to describe it is maybe like Tokyo Jungle meets Journey, sort of the visual style of Journey, or like kind of like Rhyme. And the main player character is a deer. Actually, I think it's a mother or father deer and their child. And you seem to be just trying to kind of travel through these urban environments. So there wasn't a lot to tell you what exactly is going on, but it did seem like an interesting game, and I thought the visual style was really good. And then they showed a Gears 5 teaser trailer, which I stopped playing Gears at Gears 2, so maybe this will be the one to get me back in, but Gears 4 wasn't. So for fans of Gears, I'm excited for you. They showed a bunch of things that are not necessarily for me. They showed the Gears Pop mobile game, some footage of that. It didn't seem like it was really my style. Lego stuff in Forza, a new Xbox Elite controller, all cool stuff, but nothing that's really like exactly to my taste. Big one here. They announced that Phantasy Star 2 Online is coming to Xbox, and it's going to be free to play. I'm excited because one of my biggest regrets is that I never played Phantasy Star Online back when it was in its heyday. It always seemed like a really fun game, and anytime anyone ever talks about it, you hear nothing but praise. And so I'm super excited that a new Phantasy Star Online, well, new to us, Phantasy Star Online game is coming out. And I know I have some friends that'll play it, and I'm definitely going to hop on board for Phantasy Star 2. And yeah, I mean, it being available on the console is even cooler. Then they showed a new Tales of game, Tales of Arise. This actually got leaked ahead of time, in addition to the next thing I'll talk about, so it wasn't a full-on surprise, but I will say that it looked pretty good. The story trailer focused on 2 characters, so I'm wondering if it'll have kind of a Tales of Xillia vibe, which wouldn't be a bad thing. I think Tales of Xillia is one of the best Tales games that's come out, so yeah, well, definitely, I'm always interested in a new Tales game. And then the other big reveal that got leaked ahead of time is Eldon Ring. This is the new game from Software with creative input from George R.R. Martin. So a little bit of East meets West brain power going on. The gameplay was non-existent, but the sort of teaser trailer they showed gave, I mean, it wasn't that far off from a Souls game, a little more colorful. And it focused around this Eldon Ring that I guess has been destroyed, and now the world is in chaos. The skies were like red and stormy and stuff like that. So presumably you are either trying to find the Eldon Ring or you're trying to rebuild a new one. But just the description of From Software plus George R.R. Martin has my attention. So it's too bad that one got leaked. That probably would have been really exciting to see for the first time, but I did end up seeing it ahead of time. So, but it can't imagine it's not one that I'll pick up. And yeah, and then it sort of ended with that console discussion, and they announced that in holiday of 2020, when their Project Scarlet console launches, it will launch with Halo Infinite, sort of a throwback to the original Xbox and how important Halo was on that. So they showed a short trailer that sort of reintroduced Master Chief and sort of set up Halo Infinite a little bit. I'll admit that it was a pretty hype trailer. Halo isn't a series that I'm always thinking like, oh, I love Halo, it's one of my top 10 series or anything like that. But yeah, obviously I played a ton of Halo as a kid, and when they showed that trailer, my blood got pumping a little bit. So I get excited for new console launches as it is, and if there's an awesome game like a Halo game on a new console when it comes out, I'm even better. And yeah, I think that basically covers everything from their press conference that I really wanted to talk about. There were some other things that I know people are really excited about, Borderlands 3 and some of the Gears 5 modes that I didn't go into. But this was sort of a quick highlight of the stuff that was most exciting to me and why. So yeah, let me know if you watched the Microsoft Xbox E3 conference this year. Please let me know what you're excited for. Let me know if there's anything that you picked up on that maybe I missed or didn't cover here. I'd love to know what you thought because, yeah, it really felt like Xbox came back out strong this year. And so I think as just a fan of good games, it's going to be an exciting time to reintroduce them to the console race in a way that, for me personally, they hadn't really been this console generation. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. I'll have another video coming out soon. And until then, have a great day. Bye.